Okay. So we are back. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. I want to try to do at least two tonight. Um, First, I'm going to start with this David case, the David and Celeste case. But before I start that, I want you to listen to one of his songs that is really eerie. And then I'm going to read a Bible verse because I feel like if you don't, you're going to hell for listening to this case. And then here's some more. And I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it. And this is him covered in blood and all kinds of stuff, and it's really gross, and I don't understand why you would make a video like that, especially when you have committed this insane murder. And of course he denies it, but I'm gonna give you a few facts on this case. So before we start that, I have a perfect Bible verse here. It's a little longer than usual, but you'll get it. These are things that you are not to teach and insist on. If anyone teaches otherwise and does not agree to the sound instruction of our Lord Jesus Christ and to godly teaching, they are conceited and understand nothing. They have an unhealthy interest in controversies and quarrels about words that result in envy, strife, malicious talk, evil suspicions, and constant friction between people of corrupt mind who have been robbed of the truth and who think that godliness is a means to financial gain. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. Those who want to get rich fall into temptation and trap and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. I thought that was perfect. So, now, from what we're going to get into, I have quite a few videos I'm going to show you, but I'm just kind of going to do a brief summary here. I have my paperwork right here. And it's the summary of it basically is David began his relationship in November of 2023 when she was 13 years old and he was 18 years old. Their first contact was when she was 11. He's facing first-degree murder, sexual abuse of a child, and mutilation of human remains. He's pleading not guilty. Her dismembered body was found in the front of the singer's Tesla September 8th of 2025. She was reported missing by her family in both February and April of 2024. The cops contacted David February 17th, 2024, after they found his phone number in her cell phone records. He claimed he spoke with her last on February 13th or 14th, but stated he didn't know she was underage. He claimed he only met her once in person in November 2023. Text exchanges between them claimed she was pregnant, stuff about abortion, and the use of Plan B. Now, David, I'm sorry, but an 11-year-old, you can't tell that that girl was not anywhere near 18 because you look at her, she's not one of these girls that looks a lot older for her age. And, when I was younger, I was never one to lie about my age. When I was hanging out with older dudes and whatever, I would always tell them how old I was and whatever. And if we still did our thing, we did our thing. But if you seen a picture of this girl at 11 years old, she actually looks younger than 11 years old when you look at the pictures of her. It's absolutely insane. There's no way you did not know that she was not 12 or 13 years old. And the people around you knew. Everybody failed this girl. This girl was she shouldn't have been around him. Her family failed because they knew she was fucking him. His family failed because they knew they were fucking. Like, friends knew and acted like they didn't know, and then they got caught out on some bullshit where, yep, they found out, well, they were that this was an issue and that these two were fucking around. And nobody protected this girl. Nobody. And how this girl got an abortion, I don't even know. Unless she knew she was pregnant and she took the morning after pill only works 48 hours. You have to take it right after you have sexual intercourse, basically. So as soon as you wake up the next day, you take the pill. I've never heard of a pill that you take when you know for a fact you're pregnant. So you would have to have an abortion. How was she getting an abortion at her age with no adult with her? That doesn't even make sense. So I have quite a few videos I'm gonna share with you. Nolan Wells. Oh, hold on. I went to the wrong thing. Hold on. Bombshell tonight. Okay. Now we're going to get in to this. Because I have a lot of David stuff on here. And we're going to go over it. God, I don't even know where to start. Okay, we'll start here.
It has now been confirmed that Celeste was pregnant and had an abortion, and we now have the text messages between her and David to prove it. I mean, this is crazy. On January 8th of 2024, David texts Celeste saying, "I'm sorry, I never wanted to put you through this, and remember, at this time, Celeste is 13. Celeste responds, "No, it's okay. Neither of us are able to take care of it." And David responds, "I know, but still." Celeste says, "Don't worry about it, my love." And David says, "You're so much stronger than me. I love you." Celeste says, "I love you more, my love. It's okay. Neither of us are capable of watching the baby." David then says, "When are you going to get it done?" And Celeste responds, "In 2 days." David then says, "My mom told me I had to ask this question. Don't get offended. Is it mine?" Which, by the way, proves that his mom knew about Celeste and their intimate relationship and chose to say nothing. Celeste then responds, "Of course it is, David." In March of 2024, Celeste says, "All we do is have physical relations, and I want more than that for myself." In June of 2024, Celeste asks David, "Does your mom know we're having physical relations?" And David responds, "That's the first thing she thinks we're gonna do when we see each other." David then tells Celeste that he doesn't want anyone knowing that they're getting intimate until they're married. On June 27th, it has now been confirmed that Celeste was pregnant and had an abortion, and we now have the text messages between her and David to prove it. I mean, this is crazy. On January 8th of 2024, David texts Celeste.
Oh, I'm sorry, it repeated. Okay, so there's that one. Um, I'm gonna follow it up with this one.
Descriptions of images of Celeste Rivas Hernandez and the singer David engaged in sexual acts, as well as text messages discussing pregnancy, abortion, and sex tapes, were all presented to the court by LA prosecutors on the fourth day of David's preliminary hearing. Reminder, he was accused of the murder, unlawful dismemberment, and continuous sexual abuse of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found decomposing in the front trunk of a Tesla linked to him in September last year. In one of the text messages, Celeste wrote, quote, "I killed my kid for you." And in other text exchanges, it appeared that she felt forced to have an abortion. In one message, David wrote, "I'm thinking about your abortion gift." The last text exchange that was presented on Friday appeared to show the breakdown of the relationship between the two, with Celeste writing, "All we do is hang out and have sex, man. I want more than that for myself." Throughout presenting the evidence, prosecutors repeated the claim that Celeste would have been 13 and 14 at the times these text messages were sent. The preliminary hearing will now continue into next week. Descriptions of images.
So what blows my mind is that all these family members and all these people knew that this was going on, and yet nobody did anything about it. Nobody. They just like brushed it off. It was whatever. And then when it came down to her missing, then everybody seemed to care about what was going on. And I don't get it. I don't get it because I don't care how fucking famous you are. If I find out my daughter is fucking a grown adult when she is nowhere near able to do that, we're having problems. And she is not going to be, if I have to chain her to her bed and take every device she has away from her, computer, iPad, phone, whatever, she is done. She will not have any contact. She will go to school and home, and I will make sure somebody's there to pick her up. If it ain't me, it'll be somebody else. I will not, 100% not be okay with this relationship at all. I had to do something. What? Poopy. Okay. You gotta wait. Can I do something when I do that? You did it with me. You're gonna have to wait. I'm almost done. So that's just another sickening thing about this this case. Stop. Now, what gets even more crazy is this.
Breaking news, David had an unreleased song called Trapped in a Tesla. I mean, this is crazy. So as people were going through David's unreleased songs that he recorded but just didn't put out, they saw one that he recorded in September of 2025 called Trapped in a Tesla. And as we know, many of his previous unreleased songs prove that he was in fact in a relationship with Celeste, like this song called Celeste, where he says her name and says, "I love you so much." He also released music videos with blood splattered on his shirt. He had girls that looked exactly like Celeste, and he even showed himself putting a body bag in a car. He even released an animated video where he is shown literally cutting someone apart. The medical examiner also revealed that Celeste's cause of death was multiple stab wounds to her body, and his team somehow insinuated that she did that to herself. They also revealed that David had an entire premeditated plan to run away with Celeste called Operation Awesome. They also revealed that David had a tattoo on his ring finger with the name Celeste on it. This, of course, matches the tattoo that Celeste had with the name David. And what's interesting about this is that both of these were tattooed in red ink, which fades faster. So maybe David didn't want her name on there for long. And this is also the finger that David kept. The more that comes out, the more guilty David seems, and hopefully the judge will see that when they make their decision on whether or not this is going to go to trial on Monday. Rest in peace to Celeste. Let me know what you guys think about this. And as any new details come out, I'll keep you guys updated. Breaking news, David had an unreleased song called Trapped in a Tesla. I mean, this is crazy.
So, and then what's crazy is all of his songs, basically detail his crimes. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's really weird. I don't know. I don't get it. No, just that. I already did. So let's see what other ones. What? Here are. Did I play this one already? Oh, this is some of the screenshots and text messages about the confirmed pregnancy.
That Celeste was pregnant and had an abortion, and we now have the text messages between her and David to prove it. I mean, this is crazy. On January 8th of 2024, David texts Celeste saying, "I'm sorry, I never wanted to put you through this." And remember, at this time, Celeste is 13. Celeste responds, "No, it's okay. Neither of us are able to take care of it." And David responds, "I know, but still." Celeste says, "Don't worry about it, my love." And David says, "You're so much stronger than me. I love you." Celeste says, "I love you more, my love. It's okay. Neither of us are capable of watching the baby." David then says, "When are you going to get it done?" And Celeste responds, "In 2 days." David then says, "My mom told me I had to ask this question. Don't get offended. Is it mine?" Which, by the way, proves that his mom knew about Celeste and their intimate relationship and chose to say nothing. Celeste then responds, "Of course it is, David." In March of 2024, Celeste says, "All we do is have physical relations, and I want more than that for myself." In June of 2024, Celeste asks David, "Does your mom know we're having physical relations?" And David responds, "That's the first thing she thinks we're going to do when we see each other." David then tells Celeste that he doesn't want anyone knowing that they're getting intimate until they're married. On June 27th, it has now been confirmed.
So there you go, right there. Everybody knew about this relationship and nobody protected that girl. Nobody went, "Okay, this is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Ground her, do what you got to do, get her out of this situation," all of that. And nope, they did nothing. They just let it happen like it was just some normal thing. And, who cares? It is what it is. And I believe everybody failed her. Now, here is where the case starts to get stupid. And I mean, not stupid in the sense of the prosecutors, but stupid in the sense of what David did.
Okay, so I think I might have just seen one of the dumbest things that David has done in this whole debacle. We just saw testimony from one of the criminalists who was actually there at the yard, who was going through the car when it was found with the remains of Celeste in it. And what we found out was that apparently the car, not just the car, but the front, the body bags, all the way through the car, in the center console, the front cabin, the back seats, inside the front, inside the bag, it was littered with air fresheners. The guy had put air fresheners everywhere. That's got to be one of the dumbest things I've heard in this whole case. He really thought that just chucking air fresheners at the problem was actually going to fix it. And it wasn't. It was like a whole combination. I think they said that there was around 11 plus air fresheners. We did actually see a picture of them. And it was a combination of about 4 or 5 of those, kind of Christmas tree-shaped air fresheners, and then those ones that you plug into the air vents of your car. This guy really is that dumb that he thought chucking a bunch of air fresheners in the front trunk would solve this problem. It is insane, but I'll keep you posted on any more updates as they come out. Okay, so I think I might have just seen one of the...
And there you go. Look at how stupid this motherfucker is. He is using air fresheners to hide the smell of a decomposing body. What in the fuck are you doing? Are you out of your ever... Hold on one second. Paige, stop. Are you out your ever-loving mind? What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? You really thought that was gonna work for you? Honestly? I'm speechless. I don't get it at all. It's absurd. Absurd. So then we have his defense. So let's go and break down his defense.
David's team is insinuating that Celeste harmed herself, and here's everything you need to know on day 5 of the preliminary hearing. Today is day 5 of the preliminary hearing in the case of David taking the life of Celeste. During today's hearing, his defense team was insinuating that Celeste harmed herself. The medical examiner who took the stand today confirmed that Celeste passed away from multiple penetrating injuries, and that there is no other reasonable explanation for her passing other than homicide. Toxicology had to be performed on Celeste's liver as there was not enough BLOOD in her body. There were trace amounts of alcohol found in her system. However, they were very, very, very small amounts, almost non-detectable, and that it could have even been from the natural process of decomposition. They also confirmed that in no way, shape, or form did any substance whatsoever lead to the passing of Celeste. The medical examiner also confirmed that detectives were present during the autopsy, and that Celeste Rivas Hernandez only weighed 71 pounds when she was located deceased in the trunk. This was due to the heavy decomposition. The medical examiner also confirmed that the odor of Celeste's body in the autopsy room was so potent that they could smell it in the hallway. When asked if Celeste's life could have been taken all the way back on April 24th, they said, quote, potentially, but confirmed at least weeks. They then stated that on Celeste, there was one cut on each arm in order to remove them. However, the lower extremities showed 2 cut marks on each side. They also confirmed the blue fragments located within within the cuts on Celeste's body. They also stated the cut on the right thigh was lower than the cut on the left thigh, meaning that they were done at different times and not straight across her body. The medical examiner also could not confirm if Celeste was alive or deceased when the dismemberment took place. They would confirm, however, that the finger removal sites were consistent with a knife or a saw. However, they couldn't definitively say if it was a knife or saw on the other cut marks. As you may recall, her left pinky and ring finger were removed, in addition to her right index finger. The right index finger had the tattoo on it. They also confirmed that the right index and left pinky and ring finger were all recovered from the tow yard. They then showed pictures of all three fingers to the courtroom. They said while this process was happening, David had no reaction and just stared at the images. He also had no reaction when her body was shown on the autopsy table. The medical examiner also confirmed that her left eye was missing. They then showed Celeste's torso after it had just been removed from the Tesla, in which David still had no reaction. Furthermore, the back of Celeste's right hand had scratches on it. In addition, regarding Celeste's two fatal injuries, one to her chest and one to her liver, they went into detail about how long you would survive. The injury to your chest, they said, would be just minutes. However, the injury to the liver would be just minutes to up to an hour. Keep you updated on day 5 of the David preliminary hearing. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments. Breaking news, David.
So his defense, yeah, she did this to herself. Oh, really? So tell me this. How did she stab herself multiple times and then chop herself up and put herself in the back of a Tesla after she chopped up her body and then drove herself to an empty parking lot in your Tesla that was found there? That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, come on. What the fuck are we talking about here? Now, if you're going to do the whole, well, she killed herself, but I freaked out and I didn't know what to do, kind of case. I still don't buy it because where her stab wounds were, that it's not indicative to suicide. Most people would take a gun, blow their head off. Most people would hang themselves. Most people would jump from a building, jump off a bridge, eat a bottle of Tylenol. Mainly, most of the time, people that want to kill themselves they want to go out the fastest way possible. So a bullet to the head, and they don't want to feel pain. Most people who do try to commit suicide and fail, it's because they don't want to feel the pain. They want to just go out, and sometimes doing it certain ways hurts, like slitting your wrists. That's hard to do because of the pain aspect of it. People do it all the time. But if you're saying she killed herself, then the ways that she would have killed herself, that normal people kill themselves, they don't usually just take a knife and start stabbing their bodies with it and, whatever. And when people try to commit suicide, they are going to do things that would prevent them from being brought back to life. So they're not going to do something that is going to I will hold on. They're not going to do something that isn't 100% sure because they don't want to be brought back. Some do. So some botch their suicides and whatever and things like that. But for the most part, they are looking for a way that if they go, they aren't being brought back. and stabbing yourself in random places on your body. If he would have called 911, she would have been brought back, most likely. But he did not do that. Okay, I got a few more, and then I'm gonna call it a day on this particular story. I am going to be doing more stories on this and following up with this case and hearing more and more about it. So let's see what this one is.
Guys, I think it might be over for David. We heard some pretty compelling testimony, and they've confirmed, or seemingly confirmed, that it was Celeste's DNA that was found all over the garage, all over the floor, in the trunk, the back trunk of the Tesla, on materials that were found inside bags, inside the garage. They confirmed that it was her DNA. Now, the defense really didn't have much to go on. Once again, they were kind of clutching at straws and really just kind of reaching for anything they could. They were saying, well, you know, you can't necessarily prove that it's blood. It could be something else. It could be sweat. But the blue star that they sprayed on it that made it glow said it's very likely possibly blood. And they're saying in combination with that and the fact that it's her DNA in the house all over the place, I don't really know how there's going to be any kind of defense. I thought David looked very defeated when this news came out. He was fidgeting. He'd been staying very still, but he'd been fidgeting. I felt like his lawyers were kind of almost trying to move their chairs to be in front of him so no one could see, but he looked down bad to me, man. It was rough.
The DNA is every freaking where. It's everywhere. He's beat. This motherfucker is getting the death penalty. If there was a reason to not have a death penalty, he is the reason why you should have the death penalty. 100%. That is 100%. Just let's see. And here we go with some more info.
It is a match, people. They have matched the blue plastic fibers that were found inside Celeste's wounds where her limbs were cut off. That is a perfect match to the blue kiddie pool that was found in David's garage. It feels like it's over with at this point. They showed images of the blue plastic that were taken out of her body, and it was a perfect match. It was like two puzzle pieces coming together perfectly, and there's even like a pattern on the kiddie pool that was apparently used as, you know, like a basin to allegedly use a chainsaw to sever her limbs, to dismember her. It's just so chilling. It was a perfect match. The two pieces lined up like a puzzle piece, the parts from her body, the parts from the pool that was found in his garage. It was a perfect match. I don't know how on earth they're going to beat this. Right now, the DA is still questioning basically somebody who's a criminalist. I don't know what David's defense are going to say to this. I don't think there is any possible defense to this. It's a perfect match, perfect puzzle piece. He's looking cooked. It is a match.
And there you go. The chainsaw, like, come on, here we go. Like, that is just insane. Now we're going to get into some of David's defense.
David's defense is in its closing statements, and they're basically arguing that David is the victim when it comes to what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And they start off with attacking the special circumstances under the murder charge. They first start with lying in wait, saying that David basically didn't have a plan to unalive Celeste. They say that it was Celeste's idea to come over, and you can see this in the text messages, despite David telling her no multiple times. David's defense attorney also pointed out that he was online gaming before Celeste came over with two friends. David's defense was also arguing how David never was the one that threatened Celeste. It was actually the other way around, that Celeste threatened him, and even claiming that Celeste had DV'd him and he had never been physical with Celeste or anything before. And they're even trying to argue the way that Celeste was stabbed from front to back, saying that's not like a surprise attack. That's not lying in wait. And I will say this is really difficult to hear, but at the same time, it's stuff that needs to be reported so you can see what's happening. They go in and attack the other special circumstance of financial gain, alleging that Celeste was unalive because she was going to out David and he would have lost his music career.
And their argument to this, in my opinion, is really weak. They're saying, well, he wasn't going to get any money for doing this. But the prosecutors are like, no, we're alleging that you unalived her because you wanted to save your career, because if you didn't, then you would be losing money. Then they start trying to attack the third special circumstance, which is killing a witness. They claim in those text messages where Celeste said that she is going to expose David, she never once said that she was going to expose him to the police, which is why they think that this should be thrown out as well. They even try to argue Celeste's age because he is also charged with being with an underage child, and trying to say, well, in the text messages, Celeste was saying that she was 16 and 18 years old. The prosecutors hit back at this hard. They said back in 2024, the cops came to your house and told you that she was only 13 years old, and you were still with her after this fact. Therefore, saying there's no way that David didn't know her age. And the prosecutors start laying out their closing arguments, which is everything that we have seen thus far. How the police went to David, telling David that Celeste was a missing girl and only 13 years old, showing their text messages and meetups after this period in time, seeing that David even purchased multiple different trips for Celeste to Las Vegas, to London, to Texas. The fight that Celeste and David had, which is what they allege is the motive in this case, that Celeste was going to expose him, and how Celeste was found in the front of his Tesla. And then, him being caught literally minute by minute being the last person to drive his Tesla, because they caught him on video footage driving it. Then his phone disconnects, and literally 3 minutes from when his phone disconnects, you see him on another security camera going in his house. All the blood that was all over, all the DNA that matched to Celeste in his garage, in his Tesla, also David's DNA being on one of these items in the garage, all of the things that he was ordering under that fake alias that was in his garage, like the pool, it also had blood on it. And then all of the trips that he was taking to Santa Barbara County 3 different times, where his Tesla and his phone both at the same time simultaneously said that he was going to Santa Barbara County. And then how Celeste's ID card was found in Santa Barbara County. So they are basically laying out a whole picture of all the evidence that they have showed in this case so far. And in my opinion, it is a lot. So after this, we should figure out the judge's determination if there's enough probable cause for David to go to trial. And yes, it's only probable cause standard that they have to meet, which is very low. So I'm sure it's going to
So there's that. It's intense, and there's a few other videos I want to share, but I think I'm gonna save them for part 2 of this. But I do want to play these 2 videos and see. Some of these I've already explained, and some of these were explained in different videos. So hold on.
They're relieved that the judge agreed with the prosecution that there's a sufficient evidence in order to hold David Anthony Burke accountable for these charges, which will hopefully proceed to trial. The defense wanted this evidence to see the light of day, and in the last 5 days, it has seen the light of day, and the judge has agreed 100% with the prosecution that the evidence is sufficient to hold David Anthony Burke accountable for these charges. The defense attorneys brought up some evidence that was deemed inadmissible at this preliminary hearing. They made allegations that didn't have any evidentiary basis, including the assertion that Celeste may have committed suicide or that Celeste was violent. And I personally found that very disturbing. It seems that the defense attorneys are stopping at nothing in an attempt to discredit the prosecution's evidence, and the family was horrified that the defense attorneys brought up evidence.
But I want to say fuck the family anyway. They should have been horrified anyway when they realized that their daughter was fucking a grown ass man at fucking her age. That's what they should have been twisted over. I mean, granted, I feel terrible for them that they lost their daughter, but I think everybody that was around this situation should have some kind of culpability in that girl's death, and having a wrongful death suit and like them all be his family, her family, friends that they had, everything. Everybody should be charged with, you know, not coming forward, withholding evidence. They should be, you know, even I don't want to say uh what's it called? I don't want to say that they were part of the crime, but they were part of a crime, which is the fact that she was underage and everybody knew it and no one did anything to stop it or report it or anything. So she ultimately died because everybody fucking failed her. Nobody did anything to stop that girl from the situation that she was in. Yes, David killed her, but that could have been prevented. And he is a disgusting, despicable human fucking being. But then I want to know what these fucking parents on both sides, I would like to ask them, what the fuck were you thinking? Because you knew and you knew and you didn't do shit. You guys were just like, oh, he's famous, so it's okay that my 11-year-old daughter talks to, you know, this older guy because he's famous, and oh, she'll be set for life, and oh, because that's why I read that Bible post, because money is the root of all evil. And friggin' you got all these people, oh, dollar signs, oh, he could give my daughter a good life and all this shit. No, let my daughter bring home a man that's a grown ass man and she's fucking 13 years old. I would chop his fucking dick off and I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house. I'm calling the fucking police. You do not deserve to fucking be here. Get the fuck out of here. If you ever contact my daughter again, I swear to God, the cops will be the last of your motherfucking worries, because I will hunt you down and I will find you. I have a certain set of skills and I will put them to use to fuck you up. Yeah, I'm using a line from the movie Taken with Liam Neeson. I will Liam Neeson your ass if you come to my house as a grown ass adult trying to fuck my young ass little kid. No, not gonna happen. Now, if my daughter is 16 and the boy is 18, okay, that's different. I'm not gonna really, I'm going to be cautious about it and tell her to be cautious about it and, have a conversation with her about things. But that's not really something that is that far of a stretch. I mean, when I was 16 years old, I was dating 18-year-olds. I was dating 19-year-olds. But back then, it was a different time. It's not like it is now where, these guys are dating 11, 12-year-old girls and pedophilia is like running rampant through the fucking Americas. Like it's insane. Like I just don't get it. I think the oldest guy I was ever with was maybe 21 and I was like 17, maybe 16, 17. And you know, that I guess you could consider wrong, but I was close enough to 18 where it didn't really matter and nobody knew what I was doing anyway. So I kept that shit on the DL, and I didn't bring my conquests around my mom, and I didn't do any of that. I was private about my private life. So that was it. And I was honest about my age with everybody, with anybody I was with from Jump Street. And if they wanted to pursue it, then that was on them. And it was consensual. It wasn't, if it wasn't, then they probably would have got arrested. But then again, I don't know, because back then things were a lot different. This is going back fucking maybe 20, 30 years ago, where young girls always dated older guys. It was just, that's how it was. But not when you were 12 or 13 or 11. When you were 15, 16, 17, 18, you dated older guys. That's just what it was. But these girls are like 10, 11, 12, 13, and they're dating 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds. That's fucking insane. Even I, at that age, would know not to sleep with somebody that much older than me. And then here is what the prosecutor had to say.
Mr. Burke now is eligible for death penalty. The death penalty considerations are now being weighed. Judge Charlene Olmedo held David Anthony Burke, who goes by the name of a singer David spelled D4VT, to answer for the horrific and barbaric killing of a 14-year-old at the time, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She has held him to answer for first-degree murder with the special circumstances of lying in wait, doing this crime for financial gain, and murdering a witness to an investigation. David Anthony Burke has also been held to answer for the mutilation of the remains of Celeste Rivas Hernandez on September 8th, 2025, and he has also been held to answer for engaging in continuous lewd and lascivious acts with a 13-year-old. One additional consideration is that Mr. Burke now is eligible for death penalty. The death penalty considerations are now being weighed. Part of that consideration will be any submission that the defense wants to submit to the district attorney's office. It is something that we will consider on whether or not we will seek the death penalty. At this point, the death penalty determination has not been made. Mr. Burke now is eligible for death penalty. The death penalty considerations are now being weighed. Judge Charlene Olmedo held David Anthony Burke, who goes by the name of a singer David spelled D4VT, to answer for the horrific and barbaric killing of a 14-year-old at the time, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She has held him to answer for first-degree murder with the special circumstances of lying in wait, doing this crime for financial gain, and murdering a witness to an investigation. David Anthony Burke has also been held to answer for the mutilation of the remains of Celeste Rivas.
Oh, I think I hit replay that on an accident. So he is going to get the death penalty. That is 100%. There are a few other ones I will share with you on part 2 of this, because I'm sure I'm going to find a lot more. And there are a few other cases I'm going to go over. There's a bunch of cases I'm going to do. And the other one I forgot to add was the Lindsay Clancy case. And that is just devastating and breaks my heart. And I believe she has a serious mental disorder. And I do not believe that she should go to jail. I think she was fucking insane. But I will get into that at another point in time. So tonight, have a good night, and or good good day, and you will see and hear from me soon. I don't know. Maybe I'll even do another podcast tonight because it's still kind of early, and I could do another podcast, and we'll see what we do. Alrighty. Bye bye.